Good morning, everyone. I'm Roy Potter, and this is the Potter Expositor. Welcome. This is a impromptu, even though it's Thursday morning, and I try to do my live streams on Thursday. This is in an impromptu, and it's in circumstances that are rather stark. It's on my phone, not my computer. I don't have the big setup and all the fancy stuff. Some people like that better because it's quick. Good morning, Vereen. Nice to see you. Good morning as you all come in. And like I say, some of you like this because we get right into it. But, I actually decided to, of course, Pam Jones made those nice intros for me. And I'd been using my own when I was doing my recordings before, not the live streams, but she made it so I could use some for live stream. Oh, actually, I figured out how to do that. But Unirock was really the one that convinced me that I need to kind of step up the game, even though a lot of you get tired of the intros and the exits and all that. It's just part of the content as he talks about. So anyway, but not this morning. And actually, I wasn't even planning on doing a. I had decided yesterday that I wasn't going to do a live stream this morning. Again, good morning to everybody as you come in because I'm sure that you all have been watching what's been happening, and I was not happy at all with what I was seeing. Uh, you know what, White Lightning, you're out of here. I'm not putting up with people like you anymore, Roy, or Deep State. Okay, if I suspect that's what you're doing. If you come on here and you start that crap, I'm throwing you off. Okay, I'm not. Maybe you didn't mean it that way. Then you better say it. You better be clear about what you're saying because if you claim that I'm deep state, or any other mindless uh, accusation, no evidence, just an accusation, I'm throwing you out. I'm not putting up with you anymore. Okay, I've allowed you to stay here and to try to take part for a long time. All of you guys that do that, ladies, whoever you are, and I'm just done. Okay, not me. Okay, all right. Okay, just to make sure everybody knows the rules because I'm not going to put it up anymore, okay? All right. Like I said, I wasn't sure I was even going to do this broadcast this morning. Some things have happened in the last, it's been about, I don't know, probably 2 weeks now. And I've seen some things happen uh, in the Trump movement, or at least in people that say that they support Trump, that has been in general very disturbing, but in their treatment of other people. Um, and I could give some specifics, but I'm trying to abide by my rule and not name names or diss people out. Sometimes it's called for, but I don't want to do that. From some rather surprising sources. Uh, we all don't agree, but I saw, well, I don't even want to say what they were because I, I, I'm not sure what to make of them. And I know that sounds ridiculous. Say, why even bring it up? Because it's really getting to the point where the entire Trump movement is being ripped to shreds, and that's by design. Uh, and everybody, those who can say that the movement's been infiltrated by the deep state, who have the evidence and the understanding and the technical ability to do that. If we talk about it too much, they say, "Oh, we're just accusing them of what we're doing." It's that same old thing. I mean, that's how it's gotten. The Alinsky tactics have become extremely sophisticated. And like I said, I'm really at the point, and I know you've heard me say this for a long time, but I'm really at the point where I'm saying, what good is all of this doing? Trump is the president, and he can't even govern his executive branch. As we saw on, if you were looking at Drudge this morning or just paying attention to the news, he starts attacking Sessions again. No, I don't like Sessions. No, I don't like Ray. No, I don't like Mueller. No, I don't like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, But as soon as he did that again, of course, the media and the DNC and others jump on it, saying that he's back on the obstruction situation again. I mean, this is really outrageous, and he just needs. I mean, he's probably waiting for the midterm. Pardon me, the midterms. You know, the situation with the November elections, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. He probably wants to get through those and then maybe become more bold. But we've been hearing this for a long time now. We just got to wait a little longer. We just got to wait a little longer. And it's not an issue of patience. It's an issue of losing the initiative and losing the fight because you refuse to act. And that's interesting. I just saw a name I recognize. Um, I'm genuinely worried about it. So, uh, if anybody has been watching what's been happening in, um, try and not even go there. I'll put it to you. How many of you have watched Zero Hour One in the last, say, 36 hours? Let me see how many people here know what I'm talking about. How many of there have been listening to Zero Hour One? I've talked about him before. He's a high tech guy who has several YouTube channels, a couple of Twitter accounts. You did. That's one, two, three, four. Okay. Some say they've never heard of it. Okay. Let me tell you about Zero Hour One. He's been around for a long time. He's had basically some different names. He was a Democrat turned Republican turned now independent, but very much for the conservative MAGA movement. Okay, and he was one of the techie guys that helped us to out the LARP. Okay, I'll just call it that because I don't even want to. I'm going to end up having to say it. But okay, I'll just say it. He was one of the guys that helped to technically uh, show us that the QLARP is a, uh, and he's just saying it now, is a DNC operation, deep state operation. It didn't probably start out that way, as I've talked about numerous times now. But that's who Zero Hour One is. He was very much instrumental. Unirock, uh, Abel Danger, who received some flack this week from a source that I'm really surprised at. Anyway, not that Abel Danger is 100% right, and yeah, they're I know some people in Abel Danger. I've told you before. I've been interviewed by Field McConnell, and I know a couple of his agents personally. But wow, some of the things I see happening, I'm just stunned, and I'm not going to get into that, not today. Just to let you know that it's happening. And at any rate, so Zero Hour One has been very much into that. He's been very critical of what Q has done to break up the Trump base and to confuse the message and what to look at. Okay, for instance, 911 has practically entirely dropped off the radar. For instance, okay, and some other things. But anyway, what he did yesterday, I was shocked actually. He came on and he said that his friend Brendan Dilley had convinced him that Q was true, and that he was going to back Q 100% now. And I was shocked. Did any of you see that? Um, Actually, I was so surprised. I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't contact him. I didn't call him out. I guess that's anyway. I just kind of backed off and went, "What the heck is going on here?" So I talked to a couple of other people, told them about it, and they started looking at it, and they were wiped out too. They couldn't believe what was going on, and I thought, well, I'm done. There's no way to defeat these people at my level. I'm not even going to try anymore. And I told these guys that I was probably going to just drop off. Yeah, all psyops. Well, you got to understand, there comes a point where you're so saturated with that, you don't know anymore, especially with these other things that happened in the last 2 weeks, which I'm not going to tell you about. But I saw some other things. They weren't psyops. They were, well, not in the sense that Zero was doing it. So anyway, this went on for several hours, and then he finally said he was doing a psyop on the Q people to find out who's who. And I'm still a little leery of what's happened here, but I listened to his YouTube Periscope posts last night, and I think he's right. I think he's being honest about it. But he's got a lot of us a little jumpy right now for obvious reasons. But what I want to say is that from many months ago, I've been warning about what Q is going to turn into, and I'm calling them QAnonites now, and I know you know that they're a cult. What happened at the Trump rally last night was, yeah, I believe in calling CNN and Acosta out, but you got to do it in such a way that it's not threatening. And it was really disgusting. And I looked at a lot of those people carrying those Q signs, and they weren't acting like normal Republicans. You know, there was just, it was just that feeling when you look at them that it just didn't look right. So I will admit that the Q movement can be infiltrated by the DNC and by people that want to give it a bad name. But it doesn't need that because it's already been proven to be a LARP. It's already been proven as, at least since January, and possibly even earlier, that it was taken over by another side. And you've heard me talk about that. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But those people really bothered me. Well, Zero has some contacts. I wasn't at the rally, of course, but he brought up something last night when he said, "Look, this was a psyop I did on the Q people, and trying to find out who's who. And no, I'm not changed. I'm still MAGA. I'm not going over to the Q crowd. I'll never do that." And he was very emphatic about it. But he said, if you noticed how the Q signs were distributed throughout the rally last night, isn't it interesting that most of them were right in front of the cameras? Most of the Q people, with their shirts, with their signs, etc., were very close to CNN and to the MSM cameras. He says that was by design. These were probably DNC infiltrators, much like we've seen the DNC, come into a rally and pretend to be something else, or they put on the Trump paraphernalia and then go out and start fights, that kind of thing. So, and I think he's right. Although I also know that the QAnonites are a cult in and of themselves. They didn't really need much help from the rest of the DNC to push this thing over the edge and become a blight. QAnon has now what I was going to label this video, QAnon blight takes flight. In other words, it finally entered the mainstream, but not in a good way. And the QAnonites will say, well, that just proves that we're over the target, and that, no, this was a design that I've been warning about was going to happen. I've been warning about it for at least 9 months, at least 8 months, actually going on 9, because I had some concerns in December, late November, early December, that it had been hacked and taken over. The original Q signed off, said everything was done. He gave us everything he wanted us to have. Because he had been hacked, he was leaving, and then all of a sudden these guys show up later in Q, and Unirock explained that very well. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Actually, it does. Somebody just said doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, it does. The Q movement doesn't. What they're doing doesn't make any sense. But and that's probably what you're talking about. Like I say, it's really hard to keep up with the chats here. But I just felt like I owed my folks that come and visit me here, not to just shut down and just leave you. That I didn't think that would be fair. So that's you folks are the only reason why I decided to come on this morning, to let you know that I care about those who are still trying to do their best despite all of the opposition that's going on. And believe me, it's going to get bad now. It's going to get really bad. This QAnon thing is going to be used by the DNC, by the intelligence community, by the deep state, by Hillary Clinton, by OFA, that's the Obama Foundation's, Obama group. I always forget what the O stands for. Anyway, their group for action, which has 40,000 trained dissenters and rioters, etc. They're going to kick into high gear now, and they have infiltrated the Q movement in mass. Because it doesn't take anything. I mean, Q is anonymous, right? You've got some people like on the Patriot Soapbox and the CBTS board that have shown their faces, but they don't claim to be Q, although they are definitely operating as such. Um, but basically, all these people are following somebody who doesn't know. Susie, 0 hours of felon. Look, there you. Let's see the evidence, Susie. Let's see the evidence. Give me the evidence. All right. Give it to me. I'm tired of these accusations by people. If you've got evidence about it, put it up here. Give us the case number and the police department or court docket number, okay? Knock this nonsense off. That's exactly what Q is doing with the pedophile thing that's ruining the entire movement now. Not just the QAnon movement, but the Trump movement. This is an attack on MAGA, Trump, and the restoration of the constitutional republic. Do you not understand that? Do never, ever, ever make an accusation without evidence again. We're falling into the same trap. And this Cappy dude is obviously a plant by the DNC to cause this thing to take off the way it has. And the Q's responsible for it because Q's managing it. The QAnonites, the leadership of the QAnonite movement is managing it. Yeah, I got triggered because we can't do that anymore. We can't do that anymore. So anyway, the point is, 0 Hour One said he did it to out the who's real and who isn't. And so I just wanted to apologize to him this morning because I'll be honest with you, I unfollowed him. I did. I unfollowed him. I would have blocked him, but I didn't want to go that far. But I was really upset, and I would have come on and said something, but I had to think it through. And it's a good thing I waited because then he came out and he said what he was really doing. I didn't add any fuel to a fire that I didn't need to. Sometimes, you can act impulsively and you really shouldn't. So my point is that the QAnon blight has taken flight. It's like I have explained for months that it was going to taint the MAGA movement, if not take it over, and certainly ruin the Trump base and the Trump message. And they have done that. So, again, I would love to name some names of some people here, but I'm not going to. But a few of them I know personally, and I've asked them to reconsider what they're doing. And the money, one of them is saying that he's getting 1 million views a month now. That's a lot of money when you're monetized. So despite all the other topics that these people could talk about, they're using Q to kick them up into the monetization area. And money is the root of all evil. If that's the reason why you're doing something, and it's easy to tell because you ignore the truth of a situation and you make excuses for your actions. It's a sinful nature. That's what it is. You make excuses for your sinful actions and you justify yourself. And that's exactly what's happening. And so the QAnonites are being used very effectively by the Stalinsky tactics that are being used by the IC, the DS, and the DNC, and Obama, and all those people. It's being used very effectively, and we saw it last night. Those people may not have been actual QAnon followers. They could have been DNC plants, but the point is that the MSM and the opposition now realizes that they have got a hold of this thing, and they're going to use it against us. Could they have done that with the MAGA movement itself? Yeah, they tried. Yeah, certainly they did. But the QAnon movement, the QAnonites, as I call them, are more cultic in their actions. They don't even know who's leading them. They don't know who Q is. They know who the people that are pushing it are, Pamphlet and on, those guys. I could give you their real names, but I'm not going to. Not yet. 0 Hour One's done that, and I believe Unirock has done it, but I'm not at that point yet. We've got some more work to do. Monograph also was very much into exposing the technical aspects of the whole QAnonite deal, as far as who's running it, the IPs that they're using, the digital footprints, led back to exactly where they are, all sorts of things. We know exactly what's going on. We don't know what aspect of the NSA, the rogue NSA, is feeding them the information, but that stuff came out here the other day as well. We're pretty sure that the Q group in the NSA was busted up some time ago because it was designed to. There was an interview with a former NSA guy about this, a couple of them actually. The Q group in the NSA was designed to protect the U.S. government from any accusations of being involved in 9/11, which of course aspects of the government were. So it was obviously to protect the wrong side in the beginning anyway. But once it was shut down, or at least changed by Rogers just before he left, there is a rogue group in there, and I do believe that they, along with certain aspects of MI6, probably Mossad and some others, are influencing what's happening with the QAnonites now, and it's not good. Okay, so I'll get off of that. Let me just say that the importance of the November elections cannot be overstated. Uh, but Trump has a, he can't be everywhere at once. But I've warned against him not taking action because of his political concerns. The political intrigue, um, and here we are. And so I don't know how this is going to turn out. We're in a very vulnerable spot right now. So you're going to have to look at your locals there, who you're putting in the different federal and local election seats, and make it out there. If you're in one of the contested areas, you've got to get out and do something. I'm telling you, organize as best you can. Okay. I think that's all I wanted to do this morning, just so that you know that I'm not walking away. Okay, but we have to take this seriously with what's going on now. This whole accusing people of pedophilia without evidence is going to really hurt the MAGA movement, and it's being originated in the QAnonite people by design. So go listen to Zero Hour One. You can listen to his statement yesterday. He's on Twitter, but you can go on YouTube. It's the number zero, the big zero, then lowercase letters hour, HOUR, then the number one. That's how you'll find him on YouTube. They haven't taken him down, and I just want to thank him for not having turned on us. I mean, he doesn't have a big following. He used to have, I guess, before YouTube took him down, I guess he had like 200, almost 300,000 followers, subscribers. And they took him down for some things, and now, I'm sure they're going to attack him pretty big time again, because he's able to expose these things. And he'll probably get accused of pedophilia and some other stuff, like a lot of the rest of us are, who are actively involved in trying to do something here. Poor Monograph's been hit pretty bad. But at any rate. Okay. Let me just see if I could probably have brought some other things up, but let me look at some of the chat questions. And, well, thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. She said, God bless you. I appreciate that. Yeah, 0 hour 1. Bliss, when you look it up, it's the number 0. Don't spell it out. It's the number 0, right? Well, here, let me just write it down for you so you can see it. I don't know if you'll be able to see my handwriting. I failed handwriting even in school. There's one thing I never passed. Let's see if you can see this. Can you see that? 0 hour 1. That's what it looks like. He's got actually a different handle, I think, now on Twitter, but you want to go to the YouTube channel anyway to see it, okay? Good morning, Kay Smalls. Kay Smalls, hi, good morning. I've been watching your stuff. Thank you for being there. Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing. Everybody go take a look at Kay Smalls' channel. We have some disagreements on some things, but as I appreciate overall what you're doing. I think you're doing a very fine job overall, basically. I think you are. Thank you. All right, let's see. Talk about Portland. Yes, coming. Thank you. That's another thing. You see, the QAnonites are starting to use Antifa, Alinsky-like tactics. Actually, have been all along since January, but it's getting worse now. Dirty socks. What's a wanker, dirty socks? Getting me off topic here, right? Get me off topic. Not for long. Okay, I tell you what, I'm not going to ban you yet. But if you say anything like that again, you're going to be out of here, okay? I'm not going to put up with it if that's, I don't know what you mean by a wanker. Anyway, Portland. So in Portland, there's going to be a Trump rally there on Saturday, August 4th, as I talked about the other day. And Antifa has now said that they're going to bring guns to it. And I don't think they're kidding, okay? I don't think they're kidding. If nothing else, it's a feint by the leftist Marxists to see how we respond. Even if they don't bring guns, it's to see how we respond, to test us. I look at this from military aspects, okay? And it could very well be that that's what they're going to do here. Regardless, it's a problem, okay? So that's what's happening in Portland on Saturday. All right. I saw Q and a pile of French fries yesterday. That's really how this thing has turned out. Is it? They see Q at everything. Again, I don't want to name any names, but there are some people out there that really need to look at what they're doing and repent. And I can't believe who they are. It's just crazy to me. Yeah, you guys are naming people. Okay, I'm not going to go there. Okay, you name them on here. I want you to name them on here. If you know who they are, go ahead and put their names up. And if it's somebody like, if it's right, I'll shake my head. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm not going to say it. Okay. One of them I considered a friend, a personal friend, and I still do. But I think he needs to get his ass in gear and stop doing this because he knows better. I've got to believe he's smart enough to know better, but he's riding the wave. And in the end, he's when you seek for fame and filthy lucre at the expense of your conscience, oof, that destroys you in the end. William Mount says FBI rogues working within Antifa will have guns in port. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I think Mount's right about that because the FBI wants to unseat. I mean, we've talked about that before, that it's only the brass of the FBI, right? Well, I don't believe that. Neither does Matt Bracken. Um, there have been some others. True Pundit, the Thomas Paine of True Pundit, has put out there that the FBI is bad from top to bottom. There are fewer good agents than good ones. Fewer good agents than bad ones. I mean, okay, the entire thing has been corrupted for 20 years plus. They've gone after SJWs and hired sociopaths on purpose. Okay, it's a criminal organization, and I wouldn't doubt that they're out there to do something serious in some of these. Yeah, FBI is, and I've said that the FBI is the legal side of Antifa. They're the same type of people. They are, and that came out here the other day where I thought that the FBI dropped the Southern Poverty Law Center like 2 years ago. Yeah, the field officers are corrupted too. Yeah, I'm afraid they are. Uh, anyway, I had heard that the FBI was dropping the Southern Poverty Law Center a couple of years ago. Well, apparently that was disinformation so that we wouldn't hammer on it anymore. And now it comes out that, of course, they still are. And so we have Jeff Sessions always doing the cover up, and that's what this is. Says he's well. First of all, President Trump said he wanted something to come up to combat the SPLC type behavior against religious organizations. Saying all of them, but of course it's been against Christians. Well, now the whole idea is to come out with a task force. And no, wrong approach. Sessions, you've got everything you need to make sure that the SPLC doesn't go after Christians, and all you're trying to do is pad this thing up to go after the conservatives at the time and place of your choosing, and that of the DNC and the deep state. You're a lying son of a yeah. Praying medic. Okay, I'm not going to name his name, but yeah, he's a problem. He's definitely a problem. He had a dream that Q was going to. They're into dreams now. See how they're trying to connect this to God and all this. It's really wicked. It's evil. It's absolutely evil. Okay, let's see if there are any other comments here. I'm surprised. I didn't think I'd be on here this long this morning because I really didn't want to. I really didn't want to do this today. I didn't feel up to it, honestly. I didn't. That whole thing yesterday really wiped me out. And then seeing what happened at the rally last night and what's coming up in Portland, not good. Okay, Portland is a training ground for not controlled device. Whoa. That was Jackie D. Portland is a training ground for riot control devices and tactics. Folks rallying there need to know they are up against more than just Antifa. And now the media is hyping August 4th. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for bringing that up. With what happened at the rally last night and this big thing about the Trump movement and trying to say that QAnon is the center of MAGA. It isn't, but I knew the infiltration would cause this kind of a problem. Yes, the Portland thing could turn very bad very quickly, and it's going to be used against Trump. Remember, I said a long time ago, I said this when the VOP thing came out, I knew there were going to be some things going on inside the QAnon movement to hurt us, right from January. Actually earlier on, but I knew it would be used. once it got a foothold, and that's exactly where it's gone. And then what they decided to use was the pedophile thing in other words, they're force feeding us the pedophile thing now because they can drown us in it. Do you see how that works? They found a weakness. They know that most people don't even want to talk. As a matter of fact, my Republican insider has actually had me put, when I started talking to him about all this stuff, and I've been doing it for a long time. I was telling about the pedophile thing with the elites. I was telling about it, but I wasn't accusing individual people of it because that takes evidence. You don't do that, but you can say that from personal experience that these things exist. And I was saying it's a problem. And he said to me, he said, Roy, you can't really go there because people just can't believe that yet. They can't wrap their head around it. So don't go down that rabbit hole too far. And he's right. See, he approached it correctly. We had to do this thing right. Unfortunately, Jeff Sessions is just not up to the task. I'm not saying they aren't going after pedophiles. They are. But they're not really going up the line. They've got a few, Harvey Weinstein, et cetera, the Nixon people and stuff like that, which can lead to it. But there were some other reasons that happened. But at any rate, so what's happened now is this whole pedophile thing is being jammed down everybody's throat to the point that it's going to cause an autonomic response, throwing it back up and getting upset about it. And the Cappy thing is a good example of that. Running with the information that Cappy had and calling it evidence was a big mistake. And that's where the MSM and the DNC and the IC and all those people that are against Trump, the FBI, et cetera, are going to use this against otherwise intelligent and thoughtful people in the MAGA movement supporting Trump and against Trump himself. Sort of like, when the shooter went into, well, that was all set up too. You saw that, with the whole thing with the PG thing there in D.C., they used that to label Trump as being responsible for it, and Alex Jones and some other people, which wasn't the case at all. But that's how these people are evil. That's what they're going to do. They're Machiavellian. They don't have scruples. They don't have a conscience. They don't believe in God. So what's to keep them from doing anything they want? I'm not saying you have to believe in God. I know people that don't, that have better morals than people that say they're, converts to Jesus Christ, whatever. It's what they do, not what they say, not what they hide, right? Okay, so yeah, we've got a problem coming up in Portland, and that's not going to be the only place. So thank you, Jackie D, for bringing that up. That's very, very true. I'm glad you said that. John Q. Patriot, no, but he made it about Q when he said that he reported the crime to the NSA. Yeah, exactly. He did, John Q. Patriot, and that was on purpose. Okay, you see how this is working. The MSM is going to grab a hold of all of that because now he's going to say that he got a hold of, they're going to use this and say these crazy people think Q and NSA are the same people. But he did it to infiltrate and to damage the movement. But that's exactly right. Yeah, Lieutenant General Flynn, I knew when I first saw him come out against what Obama administration was doing, funding ISIS and doing all that, because he definitely did. And that's why he got in so much trouble, because he told the truth. And there was nobody there to protect him. The entire IC is evil. It's evil because they should have come to his defense as a body, and they didn't. And that just proved who they are. Does anybody see that? Does everybody see that just proves who they are? No, they're not in prison. Somebody's saying Johnny Podesta's in prison. No, this has been a referral. And I put out a thing on Twitter. A lawyer by the name of Barnes, I forget his first name, explained how this is a tactic to derail actually the Tony Podesta the whole thing. Yeah, okay, Ricky D. Yeah. Oh, Ricky D. Huh. Ricky D, are you who I think you are? If you are, give me a call after this is over, okay? Manafort jail and Podesta free. Yeah. Podesta is just being referred, and that's Tony. Um, we did have information that he has been given immunity, so this is very likely some type of a stalling tactic at best. Yeah, the police are being trained against the people. And I said this for some time now. And the other day, I think I quoted it by saying, "The police not only can't protect you, they refuse to protect you, and at many levels now, they are against the people. Not all of them. I'm not saying that, but I became very concerned about President Trump's stance in the campaign about, we love our police, we love our military. Our police have not done well. I mean, most of them are still okay. Most police are okay, but their training is slowly brought them into the position of militarization and looking at all of us as enemies. I mean, back when I was a police officer, it was back in the 80s. Even then, you would start with the mild situation that was going on then and understanding our thing called a use of force continuum. Uh, Even then, there was that little thing of us against them in the police. Well, now it's totally out of control because that's the way they wanted it to go. Because the police should be out there to protect the people, not be opposing them. Sometimes the police have to, go after and arrest authorities, officials. When does that happen? Not too often, right? It's really turned out. Look at the FBI. How many people in the FBI have come forward to talk about what's happened? There are probably about 100. I'm figuring right now. Maybe not quite that many that have come forward to some extent. And that might be way high, but I'm being generous with them. But that's out of an organization of some, you know, probably with all their support staff, they're probably up around pretty dang close to 200,000 people, I would think. And look, a handful of people have come forward. That should tell you something. Yeah. What's getting ugly? This whole thing that's coming up, the making the Trump supporters look like crazies. The guy on the dam, the situation with Cappy accusing all these. I'm not saying there isn't pedophilia in Hollywood and in the government. There is. I know. I've been around researching that and investigating it for some time. I got quite involved in it back in 2012, and I've done some other things in the past as well, looking into other aspects of that. I know it's there, but you don't go around, as I said here a few minutes ago, accusing people without evidence. All that does is prove that you're not constitutional in your orientation. You're trying people in the media, just like we accuse the left of doing. Right? Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jesse. I don't like talking about Q. I wanted to leave it alone a long time ago, but I was afraid of this point. And she says Roy has to talk about Q because it's in the mainstream and he needs to counter the narrative so he can get his paycheck. Oh, well, that's not true. No, I'm countering the narrative because it's hurting the MAGA movement. I don't get a paycheck. Do you understand me? I don't need the money, okay? I don't need the money from you. I don't need the money from I don't mess around with any of that. Okay, there's nothing on here that I get paid for, and there's nobody but what I work for, and it's not this. I do this because I feel an obligation. Go look at Tom Hanks' Twitter and tell me you can twist anything to make it look like something other than what it is. You talking about his little girl dancing? Well, I probably wouldn't have my little girl do it quite the way he did, but they're entertainers. That's not proving that he's a pedophile. I'm sorry, it isn't. And that's not proof. You need absolute proof. What you're doing is you're engaging in the false accusing of the brethren, which is the definition of a satan, a Satan. That's what it is. Accusing without evidence. And I'm not talking about pictures of his daughter. You've lost sight of this. That's what law enforcement's designed to do, is to understand the difference between this type of a witch hunt, Jesse, and what's true. Law enforcement is supposed to be there to protect the innocent and as well as go after the perpetrators. I have a very good friend who's still a police officer. I've known him now for wow, over 30 years. And he has made his life's work to protect the innocent so that the he'll go after the guilty, but if he sees the system trying to go after the innocent without evidence, he stands in the way. You're not helping the situation, Jesse, by going along with this hysteria. It's a witch hunt hysteria, the same type of thing that we saw in history in the 1600s in Salem, Massachusetts. Do you understand that? Or the Christian zealots who killed Hypatia, the head of the Library of Alexandria. Do you know about that? I've mentioned it before. Go look that up. That's what you're engaging in. You got to stop. You got to stop. Yeah, I don't doubt that Trump has evidence of child trafficking. Yeah, I'm sure he does. Uh, I mean, look at Craig Sawyer. The little bit of work that Craig Sawyer is able to. I know people say he's a deep state operative and all that crap. Look what he does. There you go again. Could his actions be a smokescreen for covering for the larger people? Well, look what he's doing. What is Craig doing? He's out there helping the authorities to find these pedophiles and to collar them. Are you kidding me? Come on, jeez, guys. I mean, this is why I wonder if I should even do this anymore. You know? Yeah, law enforcement is a problem, Brandon. I'm not saying it isn't. I've been very upfront about that. But what are you going to do? How are you going to proceed and get evidence and decide what's evidence and what's rumor, gossip, and false accusations? Are you trained for that? Are we really going to go there? Are we going to start lynching people like they did the blacks, accusing them of raping people or doing whatever back in the 30s, 20s, and 30s, even in the 40s, I guess? I guess some even happened in the 60s. Do you know how the prohibition of marijuana got out there? Do you know how it became illegal? Because the pharmaceutical companies could see that people had access to these literal weeds that grow anywhere and they could get medicinal help from them. And they didn't want that. They wanted to stop that from people being able to use natural things to help them. So what did they do? They said that, oh, marijuana, we got to make it illegal because what do they say? Mexicans, when they get on marijuana, they rape and kill white women. Okay? Do you want to belong to that? Do you want to be a part of that nonsense? No, I don't think you. I don't think you want to do that. Yeah, there've been we've associated some of the things with the QAnon people that had it with drug trafficking and drug stuff. Yes, we have with evidence. Okay, all right. How about paper? What was about paper? Uh, Oh, thank you, Brandon. See, we just need to think through this, right? We need to make sure about what we're up against, and we need to stay in the realm of probable cause. I mean, it's okay to have suspicion, but you don't start accusing people under suspicion. You develop a probable cause, and we need to even do that at our level, even if we can't pursue it much further than that. Yeah, prepare to be judged as you judge. Evidence is necessary. Yeah, Jesus, look, for those Christians out there who are really onto this thing, right? Like, I'll mention her name, Liz Crokin, and she was abused as a child, apparently. Well, I was there, not by my family, but by government workers, okay? I'm very familiar with this from a firsthand experience, okay? Um, but when the adulteress was brought to Jesus, she said, what did he say? Well, this gets really deep, but the point is, he says, where's your evidence, guys? You say she was caught in the very act. Where's your evidence? Right? If you really understood what was happening there, you'd understand that Jesus didn't do it merely on what was claimed. He was saying, give me the evidence. What's required by the law as far as evidence to do this? Otherwise, you got to let her go. Wyoming, because it's probably the freest state in the country. There's some questions about that. I mean, that's where Cheney's from, which is kind of a problem. But Wyoming has a lot of benefits. It's probably, um, yeah, I would say overall it's probably the freest. For instance, concealed carry, you don't need a license. You can get one if you want, but in Wyoming, your driver's license is your concealed carry permit, because as long as you don't have a felony conviction or any other court judgment against you that you can't have weapons, you can carry concealed in Wyoming. See how that works? Sessions obsessed with, this is from Ricky D. Sessions obsessed with people who smoke grass. What a joke. with a coup in progress. Yeah, I think I know who you are, Ricky. Now, thank you for being here. Yeah, I didn't. I know I didn't make any announcement prior to. Like I said, I wasn't sure I was going to do this. I was really bummed out yesterday with all that I saw happening. Some attacks on Abel Danger, despite nobody's right all the time. And that, I mean, and an attack on me by another person about 2 weeks ago, who was told that I had said something derogatory about him and didn't check it before he came on and started lambasting me about it. And I said, "What are you talking about? Give me the proof. Give me the post where I attacked you. What is it? It doesn't exist." And I was really surprised he'd do that, knowing what I've done to help him out. Maybe I don't know. And this is very common right now. It's going on, and then you hear the same people that do this say, "Oh, we need to understand others who are just that may disagree with us on some points, but we're all working for the same thing." And yet he attacked another group. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've been going for 45 minutes. Like I said, I didn't really want to go this long. I don't have any hard information because I wasn't. I'm not. I'm traveling again. Obviously, you can tell that. And after yesterday, I just didn't do any um, big preparation. So I guess my bottom line in this entire thing this morning is that I'm going to say it again. QAnonites are a problem, and it's not just a source of information. It's become the tool by which they want to uh, injure Trump, MAGA, and the constitutional republic and its restoration. It is that. No, Q's not dead, Jay. Q's not dead. It morphed, and it's been taken. It's now, and they work towards it. This you can look at this and you can see how it's done, how they've done this. This has been a stealth movement, very similar to the Germans dressing up as MPs. It's okay to disagree, Scarlett. That's okay. That's all right. Um, in World War II, for instance, there was a situation at the Battle of the Bulge where Germans who spoke very good English dressed as American MPs and guided the convoys going to the front to the battle in the wrong direction. Do you get the impact of that? They dressed up as American MPs and sent the American convoys in the wrong direction away from the battle. Do you understand that? That's exactly what the Q movement has been since January at the least, and probably since Thanksgiving when Q finally said he had been breached and that we had all we needed and he was leaving and he wasn't coming back, and there was about a 10-day lull there, and it was picked up by the IC at that point, but it was very gradual. It didn't really become obvious except for tech people like Uni who could see it in the technical side. Um, I noticed it in the composition of the posts, and I became concerned. But by January 7th, I knew for a fact it had been taken over. I Law 61, on your question, you're raising it. Um, Steve, I believe, has good intentions. Uh, if most of you understand, Steve Motley and Jesse Waltman of BP Earthwatch were kind of a team there for a while. And they got me on Jesse's program and on Steve's several times. Steve's actually only once. BP Earthwatch probably two or three, and things went pretty well. But I could feel this friction between the two of them, and that basically exploded, and I got caught in the middle of it. I don't have anything against Steve. I wish him all the best. I hope that his message is by and large good. He supports Q, which I think is a mistake, and I told him so in person. I'm not talking behind his back. I told him that in person, where this was going. BP Earthwatch, same thing. I mean, I know people that don't like Jesse for various reasons. Again, I don't have a problem with Jesse, but I've had to either block. The problem was between the two of them, and I just got caught in the middle over program timing. It was that silly. And then some things happened that I just I was saying, back away from these guys. But Not that they don't do good work. They just had a personality conflict that caused a problem between them. And I was kind of like I say, stuck in the middle. I was kind of like the police officer comes to a domestic violence case, and then they both turn on him. That's kind of what that was like. Um, but as I've said, I have either unfollowed or blocked anybody who supports Q, and some of those people, it really hurt for me to do that. Um, who might be listening to this, I didn't want to do that. I warned you that I was going there, that I was going to have to do it. And if you would rather be with Q than with people that are trying to tell the truth, that's your call. But I can't have you on here because of what's coming. Because of what's coming and what this QAnonite thing has done, and what it's going to do to hurt the agenda of Trump, the MAGA movement, the effort to restore the constitutional republic, all under the guise of showing you how to research and pointing you in the right direction, which it's not doing. It's funneling you, just like I said. But it's going to turn even more violent. They're going to prove to be the Antifa of the conservative movement, because they're not really conservatives. They've been infiltrated. They're going to make you do things without thinking. So all of those who I've had follow me, been very good friends for a number of, well, at least a couple of years now. Some of you, we've talked and texted and etc. Not just on YouTube and Twitter. But if you're following Q, I told you it's nothing personal. But you're playing with fire, and I don't want that fire. Okay, I'm not interested in it. Don't. I'm going to address this. Michelle LaMonica, you dressed as a Jewish prophet with a shofar. No, I didn't have a shofar, although I understand its purpose. Um, don't confuse Jewish with Israelite. Okay, that's real easy to do, because the MSM and the APAC and the Jewish Defense League, all of those things, the ADL rather, the Anti-Defamation League, have all the Balfour Declaration, a lot of things, and Jesus himself said, there's going to be this thing where there will be Jews who are not Jews, right? And he called themselves Jews when they're not, that whole business. Um, no, what I do has nothing to do with Judaism. Okay, some of the sacred um, implements, ritual implements, are the same, because a lot of them use that. A lot of Jews use that. A lot of them don't. A lot of them, if they do, it's for social purposes. Not all of them, but my point is that no, I'm not Jewish. Okay, what I do is I follow the ancient Israelite religion, which James, the brother of Jesus, did, which is why I call myself a Jamesian Christian. James, the brother of Jesus himself wore a tallit, if you know what that is. You probably don't. Yeah, it's hard to believe anyone who's a non. Yeah, people that remain faceless and anonymous, why would you choose to believe what they tell you? You can't even prove what they're telling to you is true, number one. You don't know their motivation because you don't know who they are. And Zero One Hour made a good point today, as has people like Monograph and others. Hillary Clinton could be sitting at that keyboard herself, feeding you that information, because she's an expert at this information and at counterintelligence. None of that. Thanks for coming. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Keep your situational awareness on high. God bless you. God bless yours. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the Second American Revolution. And God bless Donald Trump and all of his righteous endeavors, that the Spirit of the Lord may descend upon him and give him the spirit of discernment, his dues from heaven, and that he may choose the right and have the courage to do it. That's a prayer I say quite a bit. Uh, November is tough, guys. Get out there. If you're in a contested area, as I said before, you got to hit the polling, the booths, the voting booths. You got to hit them. You got to be out there doing your job. They could still take it. I mean, considering what's going on here in the MAGA movement and all of that, or not the infiltration of the MAGA by the DNC and the IC, as I talked about, and that's what the QAnon thing is. And I call them QAnonites because they are a cult. That's what they've done. Um, we're in serious trouble. All right. I still think we'll pull it off, honestly, but let's not rest on our laurels. Okay. All right. Out here. Thanks for coming. Take care.